Hi, and welcome to In Brandon. With me today, I have Danielle Lalonde, and Danielle is with the Westman Families of Addicts. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you, Dave.
So, let us know why Westman Family of Addicts was created.
Well, I have a son, or we have a son, that's a 20-year-old meth addict. He's been struggling for a few years, but previous to that, he struggled with a life-threatening illness that, of course, he currently still has, and some mental health issues. And we were finding a really hard time navigating the system, right, and filling those gaps and finding some help for him, as well as finding help for families themselves. The reality is with the addicts and the families, you're not looking at a one size fits all. So I thought there had to be more people out there that were actually struggling with navigating the system and coming together and maybe decreasing some of that stigma attached to I raised an addict. So I started the group with the thoughts of, maybe we'd be some mothers that were getting together for coffee, every couple of weeks or every month. And we could share some resources, advocacy, what's worked, what hasn't, or just a place to kind of vent and complain with each other. In that time, 3 days after I kind of put the call out for a group of mothers, I had 155 emails. So that was how the whole group came to be. And, we realized that there was such a need for this in the city. So.
Right. So you were in talking to us about 8 months ago.
I was.
When you were just starting all of this up, what has been done? What have you guys been able to get done in that 8 months?
Well, I think we've done a lot, actually. In the time that we've been in here, we've, of course, had monthly meetings where we're supporting families. In that time, we are now supporting 160 families in the Westman area, which, is huge. I still firmly believe there's probably 5 more for each one that's in the group that hasn't come forward yet. We've started to develop a little bit of a resource library. We've definitely been expanding our horizons as far as getting more resources in place and kind of making those connections with other groups, right, and being able to share all of that info. I think that we've definitely decreased the stigma a little bit. It seems to me that some of the families are maybe a little bit more, aware or not as afraid to come out of the shadows now. So supporting the 160 families, we have now become incorporated. So we are listed as a nonprofit organization. Speaking of that, we're currently kind of working on our strategic plan. It's not quite finished yet, but just about there, probably one more meeting. In that time, we've held a public education forum back in January, which was open to all the public. We had 160 people attend there. We had 12 panelists from different existing organizations that were already in the Brandon area to ask questions. We had Constable Dan Norman from Winnipeg, from the Winnipeg Police Service, come out and speak. He talked for about an hour. It was a wonderful presentation, and I think, the public got a lot out of it. Constable Norman comes at this issue with two different areas of expertise. Of course, he lost a son to an opioid overdose, but he also works for the Winnipeg City Police. So, we've accomplished that. We're trying to set up a harm reduction conference in conjunction with Prairie Mountain Health. We've been in talks with some of the other agencies and with the Manitoba government about filling some gaps in services. So right now we are exploring the idea of recovery coaching, and that would be something that would alleviate maybe some of the resources for the emergency department and for the Brandon City Police, where we'd be able to meet addicts where they are at, right? Where are they in their journey, and be able to encourage them and take them along, I guess, a case manager of sorts.
Right. Mm-hmm. So now all within your organization and stuff, not just necessarily people coming in looking for help and stuff, but you're looking for also some help with the organization itself too, right?
Absolutely we are. Because we've grown so large in such a kind of short, condensed period of time, we have recently started a GoFundMe page. It is under Westman Families of Addicts, of course, on the GoFundMe. We definitely, need some financial support at this point in order to, increase that public presence and follow up with the things that the public are asking, because there's definitely a need for more public education sessions. Saying that, if we have made a proposal to go into the recovery coaching, but we will have to, have some financial backing there to actually be able to train the members. Up until now, of course, everything has just come out of everybody's pocket, right? But we don't want to keep pressing on the same people to donate this and donate that. So we're really hoping that we can get that up and going.
Right, and I think you need some people too to go
We
along
do.
with that.
The fundraising bit is a little bit of a challenge. It's if you're kind of not used to doing a lot of fundraising, it's kind of a challenge to get off the ground. So right now we welcome anybody that wants to join us, not necessarily as a family of an addict, but somebody that has some fundraising experience or fundraising ideas that they'd be willing to share with us, and help to get the word out.
Right. So what do you have currently on the go with the organization?
Well, other than the GoFundMe page, like I mentioned, we have the Prairie Mountain Health harm reduction. We are looking at bringing somebody out from Winnipeg that specializes in harm reduction, and that has the life experience as a recovered meth addict. We have ongoing meetings. We still meet every second Tuesday of the month at the Global Market Refit Store. It's at 23 12th Street. So those meetings are 7 to 9, like I said, of every second Tuesday. So we have that going on. We're working on the strategic direction. Like I mentioned, we're working with the government to try and find and cover some of the gaps in treatment. We've been in talks about, maybe partnering up and opening a detox center, seeing where we can fulfill that role. About 2 weeks ago now, we actually started addicts themselves, Westman Substance Abuse Support Group. So we started that as a Facebook group. It's a closed group on Facebook, because I found, since I kind of started this whole journey, that I was getting contacted by a lot of people that had substance abuse issues themselves, right? And that's not really where I started this journey. It was more for the families. And I was feeling really bad, or we were feeling really bad about just handing over the information that we knew was somewhat inadequate and very hard for somebody that has, addiction issues, mental health issues, maybe, they're homeless, all of those kind of things. It's really hard for them to follow up on their own. So I felt kind of bad that I was actually handing out that information, and I thought, where can we start putting everything into a centralized location? So we did start that Facebook group for addicts themselves. In about a week and a half, we have 47 people that have already joined up with that group. And the whole idea behind that is just anybody that's, it doesn't matter if they're an active user or they're in recovery or where they are in their journey, right? They just maybe need a little bit of support and be able to share information. I've been very clear that I'm not a drug and alcohol counselor, right? And we're not there for medical advice of any sort, but just to be able to put the options out, right? What's available.
Right.
Yeah. More social media, of course. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. We still have our closed Facebook group. We will have our own website up and running shortly, probably in about a 2-week period. So yeah, that's about it.
Right. So I think we've covered everything that we kind of wanted to talk about, except you have an email address.
We do. It's Westman Families of Addicts at outlook.com. So we have that. We have the Facebook page just under Westman Families of Addicts. On Twitter and Instagram, we're Westman Fam of Addicts. I think that about covers all the social media part anyways.
Right, so lots of options for people to be able to get a hold of you.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to get out?
I don't think so. Just that, we welcome any new members, anybody that wants to join in, has any sort of problems. I like to reiterate to people, it's not just for, say parents of an addict. We have members that are there because they have a spouse that's, struggling with drug addiction, or they have a grandparent that's struggling with drug addiction. I mean, it might be their child, it might be their cousin, it might be their best friend, right? The idea is that we just all come together and that we're able to support one another and have those honest conversations about, what we need and what needs to change, or what we would like to see change. And, right now we have this fabulous, passionate, board, right, that are willing to meet people one-on-one, or are willing to, support people in any way they possibly can. So, it doesn't matter what the actual what the actual issue is surrounding the addiction. That's what we're here for, no judgment and no stigma.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming in. Good luck in the growth of your group. It's certainly well needed in this community as the drug problem continues to grow in Brandon. And
Unfortunately, yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.